Hello, thank you for choosing to learn more about Lackey's Farm and Table. Throughout this presentation, we're going to learn more about my business. Lackey's Farm and Table really focuses on where the farm meets the table, but it also focuses on how the food got to the table. So basically how the business works is people come onto the property and then they'll be taken out to the garden. And while they're at the garden, they'll be offered sample menus for the night, and we'll look at one of those in just a moment. And they will pick the fruits and vegetables that go along with the meal that they have chosen to prepare. So this is innovative because there's a real gap in the market. I work for the University of Georgia Extension Service, and I have lots of 4-H kids that do food-based projects. And a lot of them want to be able to take a class or go to a company that offers a space for them to learn about not only where their food comes from, but also how to prepare that food once it's been picked or bought. So that's what really the objectives for this business are. So we're going to talk more about the food aspect of the business, and this is an example menu. So as you can probably guess from a lot of the items on this menu, this would be a summer-based menu because a lot of the things that you need for a salad are summer-based. Of course, tomatoes are summer-based, and so are butternut squash and eggplants, as well as blueberries. So what's kind of tricky about this business is figuring out where items other than vegetables are coming from. So I think if the objective here is to learn about where our food comes from, it's really important for the food to all be Georgia-based. So you'll notice that for the caprese salad, it says with locally sourced mozzarella. So we would need to hunt out a dairy farm, someone that makes cheeses, and partner with them in order to get that sort of product for the farm to table aspect of this business. Now you'll also notice down at the bottom for dessert it says honey pound cake, and there are actually bees already located on the farm, and we do already make our own honey. The same with beef products. We already raise cattle and take cattle to slaughter. So it would be farm raised on the farm that you're picking your fruits and vegetables if you choose to do a meal that includes a beef product. After the fruits and vegetables have been picked, the next logical step would be to prepare the food. So here's a picture of an example. This is a butternut squash and spinach tortellini. And the butternut squash and spinach actually came off of the farm that we would be running this business off of. So that's just an example of what one of the meals might look like if that's one that you chose. So once you have picked your vegetables, a staff member would either weigh them, because all of the items are going to be charged by either weight or by quantity. So for example, like 2 tomatoes might be $1. And then that's going to factor into the menu price as well. So there will be a set menu price, and then on top of your set menu price, you're going to pay for the amount of vegetables and fruit that you picked. Then you're going to come inside the kitchen. So when we're talking about this business becoming a reality, these next 2 items are really the costly items that are going to have to be dealt with. So once you've got your vegetables and they've been weighed or counted, you're going to come into the kitchen. And as you can see from this rough sketch, the kitchen has a bar top going down the middle. So kind of similar to what you see in a hibachi restaurant, where patrons can sit and watch the chef cook. Except in this situation, the vegetable or fruit aspects of the meal, the customers are going to help prep. So let's say you have yellow summer squash. So the customer that picked the squash can help rinse it off and cut it before the chef prepares it. The second aspect that needs to be built on the property is a greenhouse. And the greenhouse really serves two purposes. The first is that a greenhouse is going to help extend growing seasons for specific types of plants. And the other is that it's going to provide some protection against animals that may want to eat the food that's being grown. Lackey's Farm and Table is a family-based business. So the three men that you see on the right-hand side of your slide are my uncles and my father, Philip, Michael, and Barry. And the three of them would be equal partners in the business. They currently own the farm, and it's really shared responsibility. Even today, they really work together to make sure things get done, which is going to be great in the aspect of when you're looking at startup costs. A lot of the things that are going to need to be done, like clearing off trees to make an easy path for people to get to and from the gardens back to the location where the cooking is going to be done, things like that are things that these men can do rather than having to pay for. They really believe in putting sweat equity into what they're doing. Because there isn't a business exactly like this one, it's kind of hard to think about the marketing and how you want to approach your target market. But the local foods industry generated $11.7 billion worth of sales in 2014, and it's actually projected to climb up to $20.2 billion by 2019. So that's really just a couple of years away. And part of what I would like to focus on in marketing is the fact that it is a family farm and there's cows that are raised here. So specifically, you can see on this slide two of the steaks that we cooked for 4th of July that were raised on the family farm. And I think family just drives it home for a lot of people. I think people like things that are family owned. And as you can see, this kind of breaks down an example of how the fruits and vegetables would be charged. And I think a lot of the way that you market this type of business is word of mouth and social media. I think that a lot of the people that would enjoy this type of thing would find out about it because they were looking for it. While there isn't a company doing exactly what Lackey's Farm and Table would be doing, there are some competitors. So for example, the farm is located in North Fulton County, kind of on the Roswell-Alpharetta line. So for example, the Peach and the Pork Chop located in Roswell, or Milton's Cuisine and Cocktails, or Table in Maine in downtown Roswell are all going to be restaurants that are competing with us simply because they are farm-to-table restaurants. Our other main competition are going to be the orchards of North Georgia. So for example, BJ Reese Apple House or Mercier's Orchard. And I would actually be more concerned about Mercier's Orchard just because while they don't offer the type of hands-on experience that we would be offering, they do offer goods that have been made with the apples that were grown on site. Finances are something that I have really struggled with while preparing my business plan and trying to come up with, would this business be successful in the long term? And, to be honest, it's been a very good learning experience, but it's also been kind of difficult. So as you can see here, this kind of breaks down our startup expenses a little bit. So you have expenses for your business licensing, becoming a limited liability company, and things like our stove and ovens, refrigerators, industrial freezers, and even things like business cards that I don't even think that I had maybe really considered too much about. But if you're marketing yourself to people in the surrounding community, it's important to be able to pull out that business card and put it in the hand of somebody that might say, hey, that looks cool. I want to take my family there one Saturday. But this kind of breaks down the startup expenses, and my rough estimate for how much it would take to start up Lackey's Farm and Table is roughly $389,850. So when approaching the bank, and this is written on my business plan, I think we would want to ask for roughly $400,000 just because that gives you a good solid cushion just in case you have things that are unexpected that come up, which is likely when you mess with construction. So the real question here is, will the business be successful? And I think that's kind of hard to say. We've talked a lot during our class time together about how hard it is for restaurants to become successful in the long term. And farming's kind of the same way. Farms, especially in the North Atlanta area, are going away and subdivisions are coming in. So the question really becomes, is this a product that people want? Is it something that they would like to come do on Saturday? And the answer is that I'm not really sure. I think before I was willing to put my personal money and my assets on the line to open a business up like this, I would want a thorough market study done. I would rather pay someone to come in and do a market study and spend the money on doing that before I was putting down $500,000 to open a business. So in conclusion, while I would like to think this business would be successful, I think it would be a very difficult business to start up and to make a profit with in the first couple of years.